Hello everyone, I'm Amanda. Today I'm going to talk to you about inclusion for disabled children in our school systems. Back in the 1960s, most children were separated from society. They were either left at home to be taken care of by family members or a caregiver, or they were sent to an institution away from their family and loved ones where they were cared for by complete strangers. Luckily, things have changed a lot since the 1960s. In 1975, the IDEA Act was passed by the government. The IDEA Act states that all children, regardless of your disabilities, gets to receive free and appropriate education, meaning that the education would be tailored for them. So it sounds like the children would be going to school, finally, out of the house with their typical peers. But sadly, things aren't always what they seem. So today I'm going to talk about inclusion, what it means, and why it's important to you and to our communities. So I want to tell you that this is important to me because I have a child that has a disability, and he is in a classroom with 4 other little boys just like himself. Aiden was born with a form of cerebral palsy. He has severe ADHD. He also has autism spectrum disorder. And he also has the mentality level of a 3-year-old, even though he's 9. Today, this is called global developmental delay. It used to be called mental retardation. So today I'm going to use examples of our experiences with inclusion and how we've struggled and how we've succeeded. So first I want to tell you what inclusion is. Inclusion is a controlled setting where children who are disabled get to interact with their typical peers. So this could be where you have a child who is high functioning enough to go into a classroom on their own, or maybe with an aid or assistive devices. Or for children like my son who can't go to a class with typical peers, the typical peers can come to them. So they go and interact with them, and they can help them do their skills. They can go, to lunch, they can go out to the playground, and they're still getting some type of interaction with their typical peers. Now, why is this important? Well, there are 2 different ways that this is important. One is it's important for the child with disabilities because it gives them an appropriate model behavior to follow. So if it weren't for having the typical children around them, for my son, the only other models he would have would be children that are like him, that don't have appropriate social skills. So one of the biggest things it does is help them to develop appropriate social skills. It also helps them with their academics. It's been proven that children learn better from their typical peers than they do on their own. It helps them to be less afraid of going out and being around typical people. It also helps build their self-esteem. So then you also have the flip side of this where it benefits the people and the children that are not disabled. So they get to go and interact with these kids, and they get to see what being a person with a disability is like, the struggles that they have to overcome. But it also gets them to see that they are still people. They're still individuals just like us. They have dreams, they have thoughts just like us. They're happy, they're sad, just like us. And there's nothing to be afraid of. And this helps people in life as the children get older. It helps them to be more accepting and understanding of children that have disabilities. So when you come across the person in the supermarket that is missing a leg, or their speech isn't quite right, or they're deaf, the children aren't afraid of them. They're not shocked by it. They're accepting and open, and they realize that this is a person. So there's benefits on both sides. So there are several things you can do. If you have a child with a disability, go to your school, see what options are available, what policies they have in place, get a new updated version of the IDEA Act and find out what your rights for you and your child are. Talk to the teacher, find out what will work best for you and your child. Unfortunately, inclusion has to be individually based because all children have different levels of disability. Some of them are higher functioning than others. Some of them have different types of disabilities. So some situations might work for one child that won't work for another. If you have a child that is a typical child, you can go to your principal, you can go to your child's teacher, you can ask them what policies they have in place, and you can express to them the benefits that you think your child will receive from interacting with the disabled peers. In my son's case, we now have kids that come every Tuesday and Thursday into his class, and he loves them, but more important, they love him. They don't even have to be assigned to go to that class, they volunteer. So now, when my son is in the hallways, all of these children come up to him and they're, hi Aiden, how are you today? And they tell me, this is my friend, he's so funny. So these are kids that they're all going to grow up together all throughout junior high, high school, they'll graduate together. And I don't have to worry about my son being bullied or mistreated because he has all these friends that see that even though he's different, he's still unique and he's still a person and they love him just the way he is. So I'm asking you today to please get in touch with your school, see what your inclusion policies are, see how you can help. If you have a child that is a typical child, ask about putting your child in those programs. If we all get together and make this effort, we can change the way that society views people with disabilities. So if you can just make a phone call, it doesn't cost you anything, just a phone call, and see what you can do to help, we can make all of our children's futures a much better and brighter place. Thank you for watching. This is my audience.